Every day, people discover strange things that have been under our noses all along. Some of these discoveries are scientifically enlightening, some are bone-chilling, and others are just downright weird. But one thing is for certain, the more we find and uncover, the more we know there is to be found. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be diving deep into 3 recent discoveries. The mystery of the nonsense hieroglyphics. For decades, a group of Polish archaeologists have been working to excavate the Saqqara necropolis, or City of the Dead. This necropolis was in the ancient capital of Memphis. Inside is filled with ornate tombs, obvious that this particular necropolis was reserved for royalty. Nearby, in a dig taking place in September of 2018, Egyptologist Kamil Karaszkiewicz and his team were working in an area between the Pyramid of Djoser, the oldest pyramid in the world, and the Dry Moat, a long rectangular ditch surrounding the pyramid. It was here they discovered something out of the ordinary. When tombs of royalty or other important people are uncovered, they are often filled with grave goods symbolizing their importance. Some are even labeled with hieroglyphics. Modern hieroglyphics have been around since roughly the 32nd century BC, with the first full sentence appearing in the 28th century BC. The written language consists of over 1,000 distinct characters. With this ancient language unlocked, researchers can decipher all kinds of things about the tombs they decorate, including who they belonged to. That was until the dig near the Pyramid of Djoser. Here, the team found roughly 500 simple burials. These burials were simple and in no way as neatly done as those of the royals. One could even call them clumsy. It is thought that this could have been a burial site for the working or middle-class people. The team went on to say that the embalming was very basic, and the bodies were placed directly into pits in the sand or into now much decayed wooden coffins. Although the coffins had much damage and were often found empty from looters, one coffin remained intact enough for the team to study. On the lid, where the name of the deceased would often go, were what is best to be referred to as imitation hieroglyphics. They didn't make one bit of sense. The researchers believed that possibly the painter was illiterate and simply tried to recreate glyphs they had seen before. Furthermore, figures of Anubis, guardian of the underworld, were painted in blue instead of his usual black. They described the coffin as beautifully clumsy. Some believe that although the burials are simple and nowhere near the grandeur of the royal, that everyday people still practice the same funeral practices, or even that the funerals of the royal were mimicked without pure understanding. As we have come to learn, the mummification and burial process held great religious beliefs in the Egyptian culture, great tombs and burials aimed at supplying a glorious afterlife. Maybe this was just one person's go at giving their loved one a chance at having one as well. Papyrus found in a mummy mask may be the oldest known copy of a gospel. The carefully preserved mummies of ancient Egypt can tell us a lot about how people lived long ago, as well as elements of ancient culture. However, sometimes these mummies can reveal surprising glimpses into the past that make even seasoned archaeologists take a second look. In one recent instance, a team of researchers discovered a fragment of what is believed to be a copy of the biblical Gospel of Mark within the papyrus mask. Although there have been several discoveries of fragments of early biblical texts, this discovery appears to date all the way back to 90 AD, which is significantly earlier than any other Gospel text so far discovered. Previously, the award for oldest fragment belonged to a piece of the Gospel of John, which had been dated back to 200 AD, making this new discovery over 100 years older. This fragment was able to be dated by comparing it to the other texts and papyrus scraps that were found inside the mummy mask and then analyzing these results along with the handwriting of the documents. Carbon dating was also performed to add to and further verify these results. Additionally, some of the texts that were found alongside the Gospel of Mark have been deemed historically significant as well, including classical Greek texts, business papers, personal letters, philosophical texts, and even copies of stories by Homer, the famous Greek poet. So what was a fragment of the Gospel of Mark doing inside of a mummy's burial mask? The answer is not as mysterious as you might think. The elaborate ornamentation and gold sarcophagus that many envision when they think of ancient Egyptian mummies was only typical of the very wealthy class. Those who could not afford such luxuries used a technique involving papyrus, glue, and paint, often using recycled papyrus to further decrease the expense, similar to modern-day merchants using newspaper to wrap items. It was one of these mummies that contained the fragment of the Gospel of Mark that so excited scientists, which was revealed through a technique that carefully removes the glue without marring the words underneath. This can be a controversial technique because the process of restoring the papyrus leaves the original mummy mask destroyed, and there is much debate about the value of ruining a historical artifact on the off chance that something valuable is printed on it. But at least in this case, the efforts certainly paid off, leading to an exciting breakthrough for researchers. Although the actual words that were revealed on the papyrus have not been published yet, they are set to be released in a volume with other texts retrieved from masks so that other researchers can further analyze the results, hopefully leading to a final decision regarding the authenticity of these important documents. Earth's black box will tell future civilizations about the end of humanity. Have you ever considered what will happen if or when humans go extinct? Who will outlive us? How will our histories and legacies be heard? What will become of the Earth? Well, scientists have begun constructing Earth's very own black box, designed fundamentally to outlive us all as a means to ensure there is evidence left behind detailing humanity's accomplishments. The massive indestructible box will record scientific data intended to provide a narrative to future civilizations as to what happened to humanity. The documented story of our rise and fall, if you will. The exact details of the project are as follows. The black box will be constructed from an immense steel monolith of 3-inch thick steel and installed in a remote location in Tasmania. It will use a system of internet-connected storage devices powered by solar panels on the box's roof, so that should the power grids go down, this box will still survive. The device will mimic the black boxes used in airplane crashes and cars, hence its name, and will collect information to relay to future investigators. But this one will serve the whole planet. Variables aiming to be recorded include mainly climate data such as atmospheric CO2 levels, sea temperatures, and energy consumption levels. Additionally, it will aim to retrieve more socially contextual data, such as news headlines and social media use and posts. Altogether, these will be able to paint a somewhat holistic picture of humanity before its downfall, should we have one, as well as changes our planet and societies faced up until the end. Not only will future inhabitants be able to learn about us, but it is intended that this data also advises them against making any mistakes we do. Jim Curtis, the Executive Creative Director at Clemenger BBDO, hopes that should life on Earth crash as a result of climate change, that this indestructible recording device will be there for whoever is left to learn from that. With such measures of forward planning being taken, primarily to explain and warn others against our potential downfall as a species and planet, it reminds us of the need to look after and protect what we can, taking climate change warnings seriously and doing our bit to help ensure our future survival. It also is quite amazing to think that a black box, such as what we fit into various vehicles, will be constructed to cover the whole planet and provide such complex amounts of data. But what do you make of these discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.